Something I struggle with, and something I'm sure many of you struggle with as well, is maintaining a healthy relationship with the past and nostalgia. It's difficult because, on one hand, you, of course, don't want to completely forget or ignore or bury the past. That will not work. Even if you try, it won't last, and it will come back in a very real and very nasty way. But, equally destructive is trying to live in the past. It's like anything else you can do to try and supposedly escape reality. Eventually the allure will wear off. It's cool to go down memory lane once in a while, but if that's all you do, then it's not even fun anymore. It's not even bringing you anything positive. It's not even making you feel better. It's just something else you use to distract, right? However, there is a healthy balance to be found. And what does this mean in terms of Pokemon? Well, a few years ago, I was tired of smashing my head into a wall trying to deep dive metagame analysis and dedicating myself to winning every single tournament in existence. As fun as those things can be, it is good to take a step back and remember that you're playing Pokemon and you should enjoy it, right? I'm not saying, you have to go full casual. You can still be competitive, but there is a balance to be struck. And so I went back to playing Wi-Fi battles on the DS. I uploaded a few of them to the channel. Because when you have the more... first of all, it's where it started. Second of all, when you have the physical video game system and game in your hand, and you will become more immersed in the world, right? And it reminds you that at the end of the day, like, hey, you should be enjoying this. You are playing Pokemon. So that was one thing. But I also recognized, after... the first couple times, it was sublime. Heaven. Like I had been transported back in time. But, after a while, the allure wears off. So, and that's where I'm getting at with the point of this video, which is that you can do it, a little bit and appreciate what you had, but no matter how much you try to recapture the past, you will never recapture it as it was. My buddy Roscoe and I actually had this problem when Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out. The first day or two we were over the moon, and then we were just like, dude, it's just not the same. And it never will be the same. That's okay, in case you think that I'm making this video to try to bum you out. The whole point of this video is that it will be a positive act depending on how you do it, right? So this is a showdown battle against Blunder. So what does it have to do with chasing nostalgia and Wi-Fi battles and all that stuff? Well, when I went back to playing Wi-Fi battles, that was an explicit attempt to try and recapture the past, right? But a lot of the time, stuff that you wind up becoming nostalgic for is stuff that passes right in front of your face, right? That's not a secret, but it is worth keeping in mind a little more consciously. And this in particular, because you know how I said, oh, well, you have to make an effort to try and, take it more easy, have fun with it, strike a balance of casual, competitive, that kind of thing. Well, the Wi-Fi battles I explicitly went to because they weren't for tournaments or anything. They were, as just for fun as you get. You have to be really dedicated in this day and age to have a DS and get the Pokemon and all that stuff. But that doesn't mean that you have to lose out on the competitiveness if that's what you like, right? And I have found that a lot of my favorite Pokemon memories, yes, a lot of them do come from high-stakes situations, all the pressure and everything, right? But so many more of them, they do still come from tournament situations, but not ones that were, to be a bit dramatic, life or death. Because a lot of us that get really embroiled in the competitive Pokemon scene will wind up taking it way too seriously for way too long. And that can be productive as well. It's a healthy outlet and whatnot until it becomes unhealthy, but that's another subject. But a lot of time when you are playing a tournament game and you're just taking it easy and you're having fun, you're kind of in the zone, and because it doesn't really hinge, whether you win or lose does not really affect you as much as, let's say, if you were in a team tournament tiebreak final or something. And, you're just having fun with it. And funnily enough, in these situations, I find I tend to play a lot better because, the pressure is not clearing my mind. Obviously, performing under pressure is something very important for Pokemon and life, but it's fun to do it just to do it, and then you see just how much. Well, I won't repeat myself too much. So, 5 minutes in, what is the context of this very nostalgic battle against Blunder? Well, the date was September 3rd, 2016. This was for a Smogon Tour. For those who don't know, it's a series of live tournaments that run for 9 weeks, and then the top 16 players play for the playoffs. This was back when it was Gens 4 through 6 of OU. In the early rounds of Smogon Tour, there's always pressure because you get points based on winning, right? So rounds 1 through 2, then oh man, I really gotta, win. I want to get points. And then once you get past like round 3, 5, then you're like, okay, I had a good day. I got some points today. So if I lose at this point, I'll be satisfied. So that already starts alleviating some of the pressure, right? Especially if you're doing well in the season overall, as Blunder and I both were. We were pals in general. And Orso U was just a great metagame. This was back when Gen 6 was current. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's part of why... not to over-romanticize, the everyday a little too much, because that can be annoying as well. But it is that kind of thing that you don't think about as much as you're doing, and then later on you remember, that was really beautiful. And then, ironically enough, you try to recapture that, and you force it, and then you don't get it again. So where am I going with this? Well, the point is to appreciate the everyday and the situation you are in now, because you will wind up becoming nostalgic for it, as unlikely as it may seem. When I was playing this battle, I wasn't thinking, oh man, I'm really gonna remember this fondly one day. No, I was thinking, oh man, I'm in round 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it was. And this is good, and it was a pretty good place in my life at the time. In the tour, I had just played TDK the round previously. I don't remember the details. I just remember I brought one of my Mega Metacham teams that I really liked making and using at the time, and I just remember high jump kick Okoing a Starmie or something ridiculous. And and then he PM'd me after, like, hey, use this team. It's really good. And that's the team that you see on my side of the screen in this video. Actually, I should reverse the team so you're more on my perspective. Because I am narrating after all. I don't want it to be jarring. Anyway, so I wasn't thinking about much of that at all. I was 20 years old. I had just started school. I got a late start. Due to, actually, in Europe, that's not that weird to start school at 20, I found. I had a lot of other people my age there, a lot of other older people there, actually. So I got over that pretty quickly. It was a very interesting time in my life. And I won't get too nostalgic over that now, but, Oh, but before I start, I should mention that I have been reading your comments on videos that I should be making. See, I can't get too caught up in the past. I gotta have a healthy balance on the now and the future as well. Anyway, so yeah, those comments were like, what if this one person's been commenting on like the last 20 videos or something, maybe more. Like, what if the items on Giratina Origin and Arceus and stuff, then they worked like Shaman Sky's Gracidia flower. Like, it just turned Shaman into that form, like if you just had the item in your key items pocket or whatever. And so basically, what if Giratina O and Arceus forms and other stuff like that could hold items? And I'm like, all right, the dedication of this comment is so impressive that I will do it soon. And then there was another one on the last one, which I thought was great. Like, favorite movie characters and what their Pokemon teams would be. Oh, that's going to be great. So, yeah, I have heard you. Anyway, with that in mind, as well as, of course, the focus on the present and future that involves the soon-to-be-released movie trailer for my movie, get excited, get your wallets ready, tell your friends, then, yeah, now we are officially allowing ourselves to dive into the past fully. So, I don't really feel like doing a deep... I know I always say I don't feel like doing a deep dive analysis, and then I just do, just because, I like doing it. But I really do mean I'm not going to spend another 10 minutes dissecting team preview. This 10-minute preamble was important for other reasons. Anyway, so I'm using a team TDK gave me, just because he was like, oh, it's really good. And I was like, okay, sure. I didn't really think about it too much. That's another really nice aspect of playing tournaments. When you're comfortable enough with it that you don't really sweat your team choices. You don't do dumb stuff like, oh, well, my opponent doesn't bring insert top 5 Pokemon in the tier that much, so I can be weak to insert top 5 Pokemon in the tier. And then you kick yourself because they wound up bringing insert top 5 Pokemon in the tier as they could because they are, a good player and can use pretty much anything. So, when you just use good stuff and don't worry about it. And Blunder's team is like that too. He didn't bring this because it's like a perfect counter to my style or anything like that. No, it's just a good team that covers things and lets you play the game. That's really what it boils down to. So much of not to say that you can't just, not know anything about the metagame and just click buttons, because that's pretty dumb too. But, when you just have teams like this that boil most of the battle down to how it's going to be played, I think that's really, that's when Pokemon is at its most fun for me. So, team preview. God, what are my sets? Is it Scarf? No, it's, I have, I forget what Scizor it is. I want to be wowed by this journey down memory lane as much as you, but I'm pretty sure... Oh yeah, I remember why I don't remember the Scizor set. You'll see. Scarflando, Rocks Heatran. So I think at the time this still would have been Rocks, Taunt, Toxic, Lava Plume, Max HP, Max Speed, Timid, which became the standard to outrun Fast Mega Scizor and force Excadrill to run Jolly, pretty much. Yeah, it didn't start going Max Spadef until after Oris was a past gen. Then Life Orb, Defog, Gladios, standard. I don't remember what kind of Suicune it was, but I don't think it was Sleep Talk. Maybe it was, I don't remember. And physically defensive Tangrowth. TDK was unbelievably good at churning out these kinds of teams nonstop. And Blunder's team is one built by Jamvad, or Mincemeat. I remember it well. It's all around using the unique concept of CB-T-Tar pursuing Heatran. Because Heatran's hard to wear down without spikes because you don't really trap it with anything, right? Like Magnezone, forget it. This is actually pre-Dugtrio ban, funnily enough, but Dugtrio was not being used at all at this time, so... so you trap it with CB-Tar, which is also a great Pokemon in general, and then look at all the Pokemon that love Talonflame, that love Heatran getting worn down. You got Talon, you got Scizor, you got Serperior. You got, and of course you have a bulky Starmie to sit on Heatran as well. So, yeah, he's got a bunch of great mix of offensive, defensive presence, and that's what I liked about Blunder's style. He didn't really sweat the hardcore counter-teaming stuff very much, because he knew it was all about just playing the game well. Not to say that you can't take that stuff into account, of course, because there are players who will punish you for it. But, yeah. I don't remember what talent... Well, actually me not remembering what exactly the sets are on Blunder's team actually helped. Actually, I remember most of them. I just don't remember the Talon. Ban T-Tar. I don't remember if I think I recognized the rough... At the time, I recognized the rough collection of Pokemon, but I don't think I knew their sets very well. Although I had a suspicion that the Scizor was going to be Bug Bite instead of U-Turn, because CBB at the time hated SD U-Turn Mega Scizor, and he would go on these rants about how much better Bug Bite was. Something I am sympathetic to, I can understand. It's just that U-Turn is super broken, that's all. And on a team that really loves getting T-Tar into Pursuit Heatran, then it of course would have been a great tool. But the argument would be, well, you get a better set, and you can still trap Heatran if you just play well with T-Tar, with double switching, which I'm not disagreeing with, of course. It's just it might make it even easier for you to force a win with not just Scizor, but Talon and Serp as well. And the Serperior was Subseed. I think this is still a good team. I would use this team today. And especially if you use like knockoff or something on the Serperior. Yeah, Subseed HP Fire though, not Glare. To my recollection. And I assume the Talonflame is Wisp of some sort. Let us get started. What do I lead with? Tangrowth. Hey, good lead, Kev. Wow, that's a great lead. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's... Here's another nice little nostalgia tidbit. Okay, not a lot of time, I'm exaggerating. But sometimes you'll see people say... And I apologize for using an example of my own play for this, because that is kind of embarrassing. But... Sometimes you'll see people say, like, oh, everyone sucked before insert year here. And then, a few years go by and then they move up the year a little more. Like, I remember in 2018 or whatever, it's like, oh, everything before 2016 or 17 didn't count, which is unbelievable nonsense. And now people say before 2019 or something else. And, you don't take that too seriously because they don't even mean it super seriously most of the time. Although there have been some people embarrassingly sure of themselves when making such outrageous statements. But, to use other examples, sometimes if I go back and read, like, a log from... Actually, this is why I made some of these Battles into Pokemon's Greatest Battles videos. God, once we get that log-to-replay converter up and running, I will be churning those out nonstop. But, yeah, like, you go back and watch games from literally, like... The earliest logs I've ever, like, read are from, like, '06... ish, and like the plays that are being made there, it's like, come on, like metagame stuff. Obviously, the metagame is going to develop. The metagame, our metagame right now, whatever metagame you choose, is obviously going to look primitive if you want to be harsh, ridiculously so, to anyone looking at it in 2 years. It's like, yeah, because it evolved, but at that time when it was the standard, then this is how it was, and this is how players were doing it. I remember. Well, I don't want to get too sidetracked. I remember in 2014 or 2015-ish, then someone came up to me and it's like, why were people not using Mach Punch Breloom before then? How are we all so bad? And it's like, dude, I don't think it was a matter of people being bad. And yeah, that's it's not like it took people 10 years to discover Swords Dance being good on Garchomp or something. Funnily enough, the endless quest of optimization does wind up leading people to forget those kinds of things for some time. It's kind of funny. It's like, oh, well, the metagame is... When you go super, super down that metagame optimization route, then you kind of forget the basic ideas of the game. And then sometimes you need to learn it the hard way. Because... And you do this by playing, of course, but you can have your super, and this is not me arguing against being meticulous, but sometimes it is important to keep in mind, yes, certain Pokemon are just fundamentally good. Like I've been hearing people say this recently, like, what does Heatran, like, actually this goes back a while, like, what does Heatran even do in Oris? Stuff like that. And then you see it every once in a while in another generation. Dude, Heatran's not even that good in DPP, or, Black and White or whatever, and it's like... And then that this is just involves people needing to be reminded of how good Heatran is. So speaking of, we're going to see more of that. So yeah, Rocky Helmet Tangrowth leads off because nothing really scares it. Like even Scizor, I'll stay in and eat whatever bug move and sleep powder, right? And Serperior coming in I think is fine because I'll knock off its lefties. But yeah, nothing on that team really instantly scares me. I wouldn't want to eat a burn with a Tangrowth. But I have full health Heatran. And yeah, nothing on that team really alarms me too much. And nothing on my team really alarms Blunders too much. So we'll just... but Tangrowth does give the edge in terms of being able to shut something down. Oh, here's another fun nostalgia aspect. Sometimes the chat will chime in. That's how you know it's super casual. You're not taking it so seriously, so you can just, mess around with your opponents. Oh, B. Yeah, I was in a phase of saying B, just because I thought it was really fun. Because one of my favorite aspects of competitive Pokemon is extreme nerds talking like, street toughs, let's say. Actually not even that, just the endless parade of people calling each other virgins and stuff. Yeah. So CBB and Empo, I don't even remember what that in-joke is. I think it was probably an extension of our friend Anti or Kratos Mana. He just started. I don't know where this came from, but earlier, a while, I don't know when, but he just started saying I'm gay in the middle of random conversations. We would be like, oh, well, CBT-tar is really good in this metagame for XYZ reasons. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, and also I'm really gay, so there's that, and stuff like that. We were like, oh, that's cool. Anyway, so I'm sure this was something in that regard. Anyway, so yeah, because I thought it was really funny that I thought that people needed to use more realistic slang. And I thought it was really funny how my friends from New York would say like dead ass and B all the time. Yeah, I thought that was funny. Anyway, so there's ABR chiming in and, with more of that. PDC calling us nerds. Guy named Palkia Dialga Clash calling people nerds. Isn't that special? Anyway, so I'm going to Sleep Powder. And yeah, leading off against the Lando. I'm going to Sleep Powder because even if Superior comes in... Well, if it U-turns, then the Lando's getting chipped. And that's great if it's like Scarf or something. But it's going to be his Rocker. Almost surely. There's no Excadrill. It's not going to be a support T-Tar. It's going to be Banded or Scarfed, but probably Banded. Because that team is not really lacking in the speed department. It's got Talon, Serp, Starmie, Priority, and Scizor. So, and it needs more wall-breaking power. So, it's probably going to be the Rocker. So, if he does go for the rocks, it gets slept. That's great. Then I can defog later, and even if Latios does get pursued by T-Tar, I'll at least have slept the Rocker. That was probably my rationale for leading off with Tangrowth in the first place, actually. To deal with the Rocker somehow. Because what else am I going to lead with? I guess I could have led with Suicune to threaten Scald Burns, but Tangrowth's Sleep Powder shuts something else down better than Suicune getting switched into and pivoted around by Starmie and Superior. Although Suicune is pretty threatening to this kind of team, if it starts getting some Calm Minds going. But I got to be careful of the Superior in conjunction with the T-Tar. Dead ass. God, I should have gotten Roscoe to do this game with me. And he is going to... Well, if he doesn't get rocks, then fine. If he blocks a Sleep Powder with Superior, then he has not gotten rocks. And if... Yeah, pretty much. We know the stakes. I'm going for Sleep Powder. He U-turns, gets Rocky Helmeted. I'll take that as well. That's also helpful. Because I don't need rocks off at all costs, but it would be nice. Especially because I cannot maintain... I don't think I can... Let me put it this way. I can maintain rocks against Starmie, but not immediately. It will be a protracted effort, because I don't have Pursuit on the Scizor. I'm pretty certain anyway. So I'll have to do things like get rocks up, then Toxic it, force Rapid Spin, chip it with Tangrowth while it's Rocky Helmeted. Or chip it with Tangrowth's Rocky Helmet, it's taking Poison and Rocky Helmet, it's going to switch out, and then back to Heatran, stuff like that. And I'll have to do that over and over and over again until I can get rocks. So if I were to, while I'm on this journey to try and get and maintain rocks, then I would prefer to not be at a hazard disadvantage, because he can spin and get rid of my hazards while maintaining his own. So it would be really nice to, and he recognizes that and chooses not to get his Lando slept. And, I don't even Sleep Powder. Oh my god, I'm so good. Well, am I? Actually, because well, no, I think that was... Oh, no, that was a smart move. 20-year-old Kev, you were going through some stuff, but I appreciate you. I think that's important, to forgive the younger side of yourself that still haunts your present self, because we can drag that kind of thing around with us for a long time. So, and it's important to be forgiving and appreciative of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, knockoff was a good move, because... Yeah, I'll knock off a Lando's Lefties or Rocky Helmet. I'll take that. And if Superior comes in to try and block the sleep, then I knock it off. Wow, so this has happened before. Like, I'll narrate a game of mine from a long time ago, and myself from the past was, better than myself from the present, which in a way is kind of comforting. It's like, oh, well, I was foolish back then, but I know better now. It's like, actually... Maybe it's the other way around. So yeah, and actually knockoff is a very safe move there, because if Scizor comes in, Scizor's not going to come into Tangrowth like that, come on. And Talon doesn't like losing lefties, and Superior doesn't like losing lefties. So what do I even do here? Honestly, the mystery of not knowing what I'm going to do is kind of invigorating. So do I go to Heatran just to play it safe on Taunt or Brave Bird? Oh, no. Oh, my God. Kev, you were on fire. Good job. Yeah, so he's not going to Taunt into Heatran. Well, I think it's likelier that he wasn't going to Will-O-Wisp into Heatran, in fairness. Because if he taunts into Tangrowth, then that's fine. Actually, sorry, if he taunts into Heatran, that's fine because he's blocking rocks, but it's not really necessary. But he's more thinking that Heatran is going to try and pivot in on a Wisp or a Brave Bird. Brave Bird being very unlikely, but, Wisp is fairly safe. So, either I sleep the Talonflame, and actually, you know why that was a really good move? Because if I sleep the Talonflame, then Scizor becomes really threatening to him. So that was good. And so I'll take a slept Talonflame for a burn Tangrowth, because it's not like I need Tangrowth to take something on explicitly, repeatedly, like Mega Metagross or something. So I'll take that. And if he taunts, no harm, no foul. And it's also very likely, both in general and especially with Blunder's aggressive double happy playstyle, that, as laden as his games are with double switches, then it's very likely he's going to try and get Lando back in on the Heatran. So he's going to do that, and Sleep Powdering Talon would be great, Sleep Powdering Lando would be great. Either way, he's not going to try and block the sleep with Superior on this turn, so it's a safer bet than on the first turn. So he's not going to, I guess he could, but he's trying to catch Heatran, so yeah, he's not going to do that. So, Sleep Powder misses Lando because something. More chat stuff. Oh yeah, I used to complain in the battle chat. That one wasn't too egregious, though. Oh yeah, I remember what happened well, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember I was playing Nintendi, this excellent Brazilian player, and I don't remember the hacks exactly, but I think he flinched me with his Specs Hydreigon Dark Pulse, and then I got something back. But I definitely remember that it was not me hexing my way here like Fuga is insinuating so rudely. Yeah, that did not happen. I would have loved to have dug up the replays of Nintendi and TDK on that day, but they're too far back. If someone is able to find them, please post them. I would love to see those games again, just out of interest. September 3rd, 2016, that's the date. Anyway, but yeah, that is definitely the case. There was some tomfoolery about Specs Hydreigon Dark Pulse flinching, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so now Lando gets up rocks on a Giga Drain. What was that Giga Draining for? Oh, in case... I actually don't know what I Giga Drain for there. Well, I'm punishing the... I wonder if I thought that he might try to absorb my Sleep Powder by U-turning into Starmie. That would have been pretty cool, although unlikely. But maybe I just didn't want to risk another Sleep Powder or something. I'm not saying that was the best play or something. In fact, I think going for another powder might have been decent there. But also maybe just getting some health back from another U-turn. I don't know. Because on the Superior, so then I can knock it afterwards more safely. Taking an HP Fire, stay in. Tangrowth is amazing. It can just kind of stay in against everything and wreak some havoc. But also weakening Lando is pretty good because, again, it'll make it harder for it to get rocks repeatedly in the event that I am able to get the defog off. Because I'm not going to be able to defog off over and over again. Latios will get pursued. But a nice little dynamic to note here is that if T-Tar comes into pursuit Latios, I can get a Draco on it, and that'll make it less apt at trying to pursue Heatran. So, God, I can't believe this replay is almost 7 years old. I feel like the autumn. Yeah, you ever have that? Like, you remember something and you literally feel like the whole vibe, I guess, for lack of a better term. That whole atmosphere of what it was like then. It's nuts, man. It's intoxicating. That's why it's easy to slip back in there. Anyway, so... Oh, and Blarg chiming in by calling this the Jamvad special. Yeah, so now he's not going to U-turn again to not get a helmet chipped. Smart move, because the damage isn't going to last. And now Talon is going to get slept. But that's good. Both Lando and Scizor slept So that's what's he gonna switch to? He's gonna go to T-Tar this time to try and catch the Heatran. Oh, and I go to Suicune. Oh, nice move, Kev. Well, nice move to Blunder too. Obviously, he was very aggressive. Honestly, I kind of wish I'd stayed in and Giga Drained, because like there's no way he's just gonna give me free switches to Heatran, right? But at the same time, you know, falling a little behind, I didn't want to mess around and give him free turns. But Suicune is good because it's not afraid of T-Tar, and matter of fact, I'm daring this T-Tar to stay in and get Scald Burned. And it also is fine in case Talon stays in and tries to wake up. So Talonflame losing its lefty is actually nice because now it's going to lose health if it switches in, thanks to T-Tar's own Sand. So Scizor... Although I gotta spoil it for you, I don't think I do a very good job of going for the Scizor game, but I don't think Scisor's really necessary to win. I don't know, it still might be a long shot anyway, especially because this was around the time that ABR was using HP Fire Mega Scizor a lot. So and that was, I'm not kidding, that was genuinely on my mind. It was very popular. So yeah, just a Scald. See if I can burn a Talon coming in, because a bulky Starmie isn't really threatening to rest Suicune. And actually, if I can, no, that was a nice, because if I can start messing with Starmie, then I will be able to get rocks more easily. And if Serperior wants to come in, I'm willing it to get burned. So there's Calm Mind, Toxic. That's why it's gonna stop me. Although I wasn't expecting that yet, but I'll give it another. This time a +1 Scald under Sand. There's Recover, and now I rest here, right? Just so. Yeah, rest on the Recover so I can burn a Sleep Turn as he switches to the Serp. And I go to Heatran on the Serperior, never mind. 2016 Kev, once again, is on top of it. And I think I go right for Rocks, just because Blunder's aggressive playstyle. I remember thinking, against most other players, I know their priority would be keeping Rocks off at all costs, especially because I'm not threatening that Starmie with a Pursuit. Mega Scizor is not going to be running Pursuit. So, but I know Blunder's style is more, aggressive as opposed to playing long games. So I'm pretty sure that Starmie is not super eager to come in here. So I think for now I can get up Rocks. And if Starmie does come in here, then I'm going to, enact that plan of Toxicking it and then Rocky Helmet and all that other stuff anyway. So, yeah. So, Rocks are definitely it. But I did have a feeling that I think I'd be able to keep them up. At least for a little while. So, and indeed, the CB-Tar comes in. Never mind. Kev from the past was definitely the better player. That's kind of embarrassing, but it makes me more fond of him. So... Toxicking is better there, especially because Starmie, of course. And if T-Tar switches in, then now T-Tar can deal with Heatran less and Latios less. So that's really good. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, I think I would have liked to have had some rocks, but I think Toxicking the Tar is good. Because you'll see here, I do not have a CB Stone Edge resist. I don't have a Rock resist. And with Rocks and Sand, even Tangrowth can't take 2 of those. So I am now forced to sack my unmega'd Scizor, which dies. Which is hilarious. The good news is, though, that it took multiple turns of Toxic, so that's really, really valuable. So I go to... so Toxic was indeed the better move for T-Tar and Starmie alike, because the Talonflame's sleeping, it hasn't even burned a turn, so... yeah, in comes Lando. I might U-turn? No, I double to Latios, so I don't incur Rocky Helmet Chip on my own Lando. That's amazing. And T-Tar being so weak now means that I will... Yeah, it can't even switch into Latios anymore, which is wonderful. So now I will be able to threaten out this Lando and get Defog off. Wow, so I'm getting it in safely, doubling, so there's not even any Helmet Chip on my Scarf Lando. That's really cool. Good job, Kev. In comes Scizor. There's the Defog. Wonderful. Now, he can go back to Lando here, but it does mean that he's not going to have his Scizor Mega'd. I don't know how valuable he considers that, but, and if he had U-turn, he could have the best of both worlds. But he Megas, and it is indeed Bug Bite. Any crits? What a lucky bastard. Uh, yeah, so now, do I just go for, I don't know, Lava Plume would actually be a pretty good move here because it can burn the Starmie. But yeah, now that rocks have been cleared, then I am in a much more comfy place. So the game is moving at a brisk but comfortable pace, and that's pleasant. So not that high octane situations can also be delightful, but Anyway, so there were some comments after that. Oh, not yet. Yeah. So he goes to to T-Tar. Do I go for the rocks? Okay, here was where I go for. I mean, it's better than Toxic because if T-Tar comes in, then I want to be. I don't want to just Toxic into it again. I want to put some more pressure on him. But yeah, I think that turn was probably what I was thinking of when I went for the rocks, because I did have a feeling. So that thing earlier I said did still apply, right? I was just remembering the feeling wrong. But it did still apply that with your T-Tar Toxic and at 63, then the bulky Starmie, when you're not fearing a Pursuit or a Ghost type, might be, or against most players, would be the go-to, right? It's a lot, just to neutralize things. But again, this is what I was saying, that Blunder really favors that aggressive play style, and yeah, and that was what made me think, okay, I think I'm going to get a Brox here and keep him for a few turns. And it's a good move too, because Blunder doesn't want to mess around with Starmie getting Toxic, and then maybe I get a Brox anyway, and then he goes to T-Tar. He would rather just get in his T-Tar and spam Stone Edge as much as he can, because I do not switch into it super great. So I get a Brox at least, and T-Tar's getting worn down. But what do I go for here? I go to Suicune, and he misses his first Stone Edge out of 3. But without rocks, and I think Suicune can take 2. So I just wanted to stall it that way. But, I never actually did my Gen 4 instincts are telling me, yes, Bold Suicune could take 2 CB Tar Stone Edges. But I just wanted to be sure. Oh, wow, that's really strong. Okay, so it was a roll. Yeah, that's Stone Edge for you. There's 2 rolls. I think if the first one hit, depending on how much it did, I probably would have gone to... Could have maybe sacked Tangrowth. Could have absorbed 1 with Lando. And that's why I'm, really glad that it got Toxic, so it's not just spamming... Wow, that Toxic was more for the CB Tar than it was the Starmie, really. So yeah, I just wanted to switch around, and Lando can take 1 of Scarf, right? With okay, Intimidate's not active, that's why. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can take 1 after Rock, so I probably would have done that after. But yeah, that's the first of the 3 Stone Edges to miss. Oh, here's some more chat stuff. This is what I was talking about earlier, going back to that whole thing about CVV's penchant for Bug Bite Scizor as opposed to U-Turn. Yeah, and ABR chiming in. Gotta say, I'm more on ABR's side on this particular debate. That, yeah. Because if he U-turned out of Heatran, that would have been nasty. But yeah, Eternal Tran, Wallage. Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, so now I can just burn Sleep, and hopefully the T-Tar will stay in. But yeah, T-Tar has been not completely neutralized, but its threat level has been knocked down. Yeah, and Blunder chimes in with him versus X-Ray for Smogon. A series he won, to be clear. But yeah, I remember he had some accuracy woes in that one. I think he used this team against X-Ray, but I'm not 100%. Oh, wow! I go to Lando even without the hit on Suicune. Okay, I guess I really was gonna do that. Yeah, so that's also good because not only does it cover, a second Stone Edge, okay, but it prevents Superior from getting free Subseeds on me. and I guess Suicune. Because I mean, Suicune sits on so much even while asleep that waking it up is not really a priority. You know, so that was a good move. To take the more aggressive route instead, as opposed to falling on the back foot. You do not want to fall on the back foot against Blunder. That is he's maybe the worst guy to have that happen against. So yeah, now I think I go for U-turn just to chunk the Spirit to be safe, and I'm willing to take the helmet damage now that T-Tar's been weakened. How much was that? I can still probably live a Stone Edge if it comes down to it. But I get a little bit of extra chip on the Lando here. And now, even switching into Life Orb Latios is not the most pleasant of prospects. Let's go for Psyshock, not even Draco Meteor. Come on, Kev. That could have been a Draco. Yeah, so I vaguely remember. I don't remember why this was a good move, but I do remember that it was a good move as opposed to just going right to Heatran. I was going to say Draco would have forced a Roost there, but I go to Lando here to try and... Yeah, no, that was it. Okay, so Lando here catches a T-Tar double, like a desperate attempt to try and trap the Heatran. And it also... it catches T-Tar, but it also catches Starmie nicely. Because if he's like, okay, well, Kev's going to go to Heatran now, so I'm going to go to Starmie, get that spin off. And once... because now I have the Rock's advantage, and if he manages to remove that Rock's advantage, then he will be able... Then the game will slow down again. If he sort of shifts into that keep the rocks off mode, now that T-Tar's weakened. So Lando put more pressure on Starmie there, as well as T-Tar. So I think it was more for Starmie than T-Tar. But the reason why it's good is because if Scizor stays in, it's going to Bug Bite or Roost. And either way, I can then U-turn and guarantee that he does not... Basically, I want to get my Heatran in without it getting double switched on. And Lando's U-turn is a very safe way to do that because Scizor cannot U-turn out. So... And with my own U-turn, I check to see if he stays in or not. So he goes to Lando again. Smart move. Now, after this next round of Rocky Helmet, I'm not going to be able to take another... I actually crit him this time and knock him into Rock's range. But, of course, I can't guarantee I maintain Rock. So, yeah, well... But yeah, he goes to Lando to do that. And if he switches out, then, of course, I scout that. And now I go to Latios again. And this time I think I probably just shock it. Oh, I make another Lando double. That was a really good... Kev, good job. That was good, yeah, because it covers Lando again. Now that Lando is dead to rot... Wow, yeah, now that Blunder's Lando is dead to rot... And I am sorry for appreciating myself a little too much in this video, maybe. But yeah, his Lando is dead to rocks now, so my U-turn is way more threatening. On this turn anyway, not super long term. But this time I get a U-turn and get my Heatran in for free on the Scizor without him being able to chip it, because Lando dies to rocks. However, as soon as Heatran comes in, that does invite Starmie in, so that's the case. And I don't U-turn there. Wow, so I don't risk getting bullet punched. Whew. Nice work, Kev. Sorry, again. So yeah, Heatran's in now, and Starmie is going to come in. Please tell me I Toxic. I mean, Lava Plume's okay, but... No, Kev, that should have been a Toxic. Alright, you get the burn at least, but... so I assume I'll go to Tangrowth now? No, I go to... Oh! Hey, that's actually... Hey, that's good. Well, maybe. Maybe. Switching... Okay, as... You know, it does feel a little badass to switch Heatran into Lando... and against a water type and have it work. So I am a little, proud of that. But at the same time, I think Tangrowth might have been more efficient. It's kind of like how the... oh yeah, well that play was really cool and it worked, but it wasn't actually the best one. So like maybe playing it safe would have been a little better. Because now I can U-turn again, but rocks have been cleared, so he can Rocky Helmet me with Lando again. Not that that's too bad or anything, of course. And here comes my buddy Cole49. Interjecting. Yeah, the chat is an important part of the nostalgia factor here. He just brings in his unique way of speaking to mention that, OMG, this is indeed a highlight game. Wowzers. Wowzers is correct. Yeah, Lando comes in. Oh, and I knock off. Nice. So, oh yeah, I would have, in case he tried to recover the U-turn off. Or if he tried to do that, I guess. Yeah. Okay, here comes Serp, and I remember, yeah, I knock off here just to get rid of its lefties, just because I am paranoid of it subseeding all over everything. And if it doesn't have lefties, it can't do that nearly as well. So sacking Lando, maybe not the... No, actually, I don't know. I don't think Lando is really needed at this point. Most of what I would be using Lando for would actually be Superior, and here is my chance to use it against Superior. You know, and as opposed to just U-turning again and bringing in Heatran against Scizor and then the whole Starmie dance again, I think it's better to guarantee the field condition of Superior not having lefties. You know, provided he stays in, of course. But yeah, you kind of assume that is going to be the case. Because if he wanted to go to T-Tar, he could have just gone T-Tar. So, I mean, unless he wanted to bait Heatran and then pursued it. But, you know, I'll take knocking off T-Tar's band, of course. Because then Latios actually becomes kind of good. You know, not guaranteed against the Scizor, but something that can be done. But yeah, either way, I think getting rid of Superior's lefties and chunking it pretty nicely is worthwhile. So I think, yeah, I get up rocks here, because if he Leech Seed's fine, but the Starmie is going to be a little wary of switching in at 55. Not a little, but it goes back to that blunder playstyle thing. That I think this is the point in the game where he's going to start, you know, keeping Serp in on Heatran. And I could have gone for Lava Plume there fairly decently, but I wanted to check with rocks first and see what happens, because the rocks really guarantee that Scizor and T-Tar... Actually, it makes Latios a threat. You know, I was early in the game... This is actually a good example of how stuff can evolve over the course of a game. Like, at the beginning, I was ready to throw away Latios early on to defog once and then get a Draco on T-Tar, and now it's a big threat. I could have, you know, if I Lava Plume that Superior, then Suicune becomes really dangerous, but that was admittedly also a reason why I thought he wouldn't risk it. But yeah, now that was actually a great move on the rocks, because, you know, as much as I talk about it, I know his playstyle is this kind of thing. He also knows my playstyle, and he knows that I like my hazards. You know, Roscoe used to make fun of me. Oh, you know, I would sack 3 Pokemon to get up rocks and spin away the opponents. But yeah, that's exactly what I did, so he took advantage of that nicely. He leeched, and now he goes to T-Tar, eats rocks and a Lava Plume, and he's still toxic, but he's just healthy enough, thanks to the Lava Plume, the Leech Seed, to where I'm not going to want to stay in. And he finally does what that team tries to do. And, oh yeah, here's some more chat stuff. This one I don't remember as fondly. You know, you don't want to get too far down the nostalgia rabbit hole that you start remembering even bad things as good. You know, that can be a little dangerous. You know, you remember, no, you know, it's like, oh, was it really that bad? It's like, yes, it was annoying, you know. Not to say that you can't say you overreacted or something, but don't start thinking, oh, remember when that guy was really annoying and really, you know, just the worst? Oh, good times, you know, you don't want to go down that. But yeah, this was E70. I don't know what his thing with me was, but, because I never talked to him, like, ever, but he loved coming in my battles and just speaking Portuguese, and he loved highlighting me. And, oh, and that's what this next part is that I just told him to stop, because he'd been doing this for a long time. And then he said, don't highlight me. Yeah, he really thought he was a funny guy. Anyway, so Heatran gets pursued for a nasty chunk. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, knocking off that Lando is really nice, because now it means no matter what, I will not be dealing with rocks anymore. So that, you know, game-long goal of trying to maneuver around his likely rocks advantage is finally realized fully. So yeah, that was a good knockoff. Yeah, because actually I realize now that knockoff wasn't just for Starmie. It was to guarantee that I actually KO the Lando that's coming in, because the -1 U-turn would not have killed it. So yeah, knockoff was my KO the Lando move. Good job, Kev. Positive affirmations, all that stuff. Yeah, so I get pursued for a nasty chunk, and I'm down to about a quarter of my health. In comes Tang. T-Tar's pretty much done now. You know what I could have done here? Maybe should have, because I don't think I do. I should have switched again. I should have gone back to Heatran, because if Tangrowth gets pursued, who cares? And either way, on this turn, there's a guarantee. This is important for like figuring out, oh, what move do I want to make? Well, you ask yourself, well, what can I guarantee the opponent can do, cannot do, you know? And if I switch to Heatran this turn, I guarantee I get leftovers back. And that is important because I need it for Scizor and Superior. So now you see the threat of Jam's team. Very well constructed. And if T-Tar stays in, then it's gonna die to Poison and Rocky Helmet, and so I don't care about that at all. And it's not gonna kill Tangrowth either. Shrug that off. But and even if he switches to whatever he switches to, then Heatran will appreciate the extra lefties just for the extra lefties, because at this point I'm scrambling for all the health I can get on Heatran to ward off the Scizor's Superior combo. So I should have gone back to Heatran here for sure. But I don't mean that as a way to be harsh on past Kev, of course. Yeah. Plus, on the other hand, I can see why staying in Giga Drains. Well, first of all, Tangrowth would have appreciated Regenerator, but he doesn't really have anything that likes switching into the Tangrowth, which is kind of nice. With the Rocks Up, actually, you know what? I can take the Heatran double as a good move, but staying in with Tangrowth is also fine, because with Rocks Up and the Sleeping Talonflame and Starmie at half, then Tangrowth is actually kind of threatening. So, and I still have Latios to help out against a Serp, so yeah, nothing really comes in comfortably, so I can deal with, oh, and he goes to Talon, actually. And he just, on the Giga. That would have been multiple turns of lefties for Heatran, actually, which would have been really valuable. But I just wind up KOing the Talon instead. Cool. Okay, now Scizor comes in, though. And I didn't do the calcs. Maybe should have. But it's so hard to know what Scizor's EVs are. But I remember before this turn, he said, do you have defense EVs on your Heatran? And the answer is no, of course not. But he was getting psychological on me. But I think I think I made the right move. No, I definitely made the right move in staying in, because Tangrowth is a beast and can survive Bug Bite. And if Heatran switches in, okay, well, we should probably check the calcs from earlier with Scizor into, just an approximation. Doesn't need to be laser precise. Yeah, Bullet Punch, Bug Bite. Yeah, I think it was a little paranoid switching in. But no, I could have taken that. Well, how much did he do earlier with his crit on the when he megaed the Scizor? 15 on a crit. Wow, that means a lot of it. Actually, no, I take it back. That was a lot of investment. Because Scizor Bug Bite and a critical hit should be doing... Is that like max attack or something? What? How did that Scizor do 15 to Heatran on a crit? Does it not have... Oh, it has Light Metal as its ability. That's why. That felt weak. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what about if we go down to 16? Alright, so let's just say he had some attack investment on that Scizor. Let's call it 56. Yeah, so without a crit, he's still doing... Yeah, I mean, 2 to 4 total after lefties, but still not something I'm comfortable with Superior looming in the background. And I think Tangrowth's biggest use is going to be, at this point, taking down the Scizor and basically sacrificing itself to take down the Scizor to protect the Heatran from having to take it on. So, Bug Bite, Rocky Helmet, and Sand wears off after this, and HP Fire just barely doesn't take it out. So, Blunder makes an amazing move here, and he goes to Starmie, because it covers another HP Fire, because I want a HP Fire so he doesn't roost on me. You could say, well, Kev, why didn't you go for Giga Drain? It was like, well, if the Scizor roosts, then on the Giga Drain, then I'm still in that precarious position. And if the... Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have Giga Drain on the Switch to maintain the rocks, of course. But if you HP Fire on this turn, then you guarantee Scizor does not get away with a roost. Yeah, so that was a great move on Blunder's end. But at the same time... actually, it's more important than that, because making sure Scizor is weak makes sure that Latios suddenly is now going to KO something. Because T-Tar's pretty much dead, Scizor's pretty much dead, and Latios gets a free Draco against Starmie, and not super free against Serp because it can sub, but yeah, keeping Scizor weak, good for Latios, good for the game. So, Makes a great move to start me there to spin. Oh, no, I go to Heatran. Oh, that was, well, I get more lefties, so that's good. But no, that was a great move on Blunder's end. I wonder why I didn't HP Fire. Yeah, I'm going to say it was probably a better move to have HP Fired there. But yeah, now I think I just go to... Hey, I get some lefties back on Heatran, actually, so maybe it wasn't such a bad move after all, because, again, superior. So, go to Lottie, so he goes right for the Scald. And now the spin and the Draco. Yeah, I was expecting him to spin right away. But again, there's that aggressive playstyle he's so well known for. But even if he spins, then, I can stay in and start spamming Psyshock until... Because he can't recover for... I mean, he can Toxic. But I think if he did that, then I might have pivoted into Suicune afterwards and started making some things happen. But yeah, he spins, and now I Draco and take it out. So now he goes to Serp, and I think he said this was a misclick. Yeah, there it is. But... yeah, I think I just stand in Draco just to do as much damage to him as possible. Yeah, even if he Leaf Storms Heatran, that extra health on Heatran actually, you know what? I like that Heatran switch now. That extra health is going to be important. But yeah, because Latios is still healthy enough to where it's taking Leaf Storms, taking a Leaf Storm, pardon. So yeah, now he Leaf Storms, and I Draco and die to my own Life Orb. Well, the misclick was sending in Superior in the first place. But if he goes to Scizor or something, then I think I would just switch to, like, Tangrowth. Or... yeah, just to get that safe switch to Heatran. Yeah. And if Superior stays in there and leaves... no, I think it's still fine. Because Heatran is quite bulky. So I would be able to take a +4. It was preventing the sub that was important. Yeah, so now I'm in range after Scizor goes down. Heatran comes in, and it's just gonna... it is gonna take... oh wow, that did a ton of damage. How much would a Superior have done with +4 then? +4 against... oh no, it still wasn't... okay, yeah, that's so perfect at Calc, actually. +4 would have done 31.8 max, and I was at 30. I don't know what the exact roll was. But yeah, basically it was living, so that is good. And now Lava Plume, and now the game is going to be game. Yeah, so I was transported for an hour, and it was a wonderful time, and great game to Blunder, obviously. There's a reason I dug this game up after literally 7 years. Remember it very fondly. Yeah, so there's... but of course now I have to go back to the present. But it was nice. It was nice to go back to that time. And for, however briefly. So yeah, I think I've made my points repeatedly in this video. But I really hope you enjoyed it. As all over the place as I wound up being. And as unexpectedly philosophical as this turned out, I guess. Because originally I just wanted to make a video on this cool game against Blunder that I remembered fondly, and then it turned into something else. And isn't that just a wonderful summation of what this whole thing is about? You take the little things and then they wind up being so beautiful that whatever. But yeah, that's okay. I won't repeat myself too much more. Yeah, this inspires me to go write some movies about it. Well, the feeling anyway, not this battle necessarily. This battle I would love to see recreated at the, at VGC or whatever, just so they can inform the players of what competitive Pokemon should look like. Oh, I even forgot to mention, this is back when I had that Wes avatar from Pokemon Coliseum before it was rudely taken from me. But yeah, I love that avatar. It was so cool. God, now remembering that. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed greatly. And I will see you in the next one.